Hello, booby sattvas. I would like to talk a little bit today about guided meditation. So I'm going to speak to the phenomenon of guided meditation, and then at the end of this video, or maybe the second half of this video, we're going to do a guided meditation. So last time when I went home to Wisconsin, I went down the stairs to my mom's basement, where there's a room and kind of a leatherish couch and a big bookshelf and a carpeted floor. I stumbled upon one of my family members. She suffers from migraine headaches, what's up with migraine headaches? I know a lot of people who are suffering from them. No good. Is this the malady of our age? Anyways, one of the maladies. Okay, here's my point. She was lying on the floor. She had a foam ball or something underneath her back. She had some kind of like heat goggle lamp type thing over her face that was relaxing the muscles in her face. And she had, of course, as one does, her cell phone beside her. And through it was issuing the voice of a meditation instructor. I had this moment where I was like, oh, dear one, I spent so many years at the monastery. And it was like, I felt like I was like a lawyer. And I had a family member in front of me with a horrifying legal problem. And they were like online Googling how to solve that legal problem. And I felt like, I'm a lawyer. I can help you. I'm a meditation person. I don't want to say teacher because I don't like that word, but I spent 13 years at a monastery. I wanted to grab her and just sit her down and say, turn off that phone, delete that mother beeping waking up app or whatever the Andy Puddycombe app is, and I'm going to give me 20 minutes of your life. And I am going to tell you what I learned in 13 years at a monastery. I can reduce it to 10 minutes even, which I'm going to do at the end of this video for our guided meditation. And I wanted to say, just listen to what I have to say. You don't need that waking up app. You don't need that Andy Puddycombe app. You don't need the ASMR music. You don't need the foam ball under your back or the heat lamp on your head sending in ultraviolet waves or whatever the hell's going on. You just need to do this. But the truth is, it's not so easy to sit down day after day after day and to know what to do when your butt hits the cushion. It's hard to know how to do nothing, which is kind of what's happening when you take your seat on your Zafu cushion. How I've begun to think about religions and spiritual practices is that they are like platforms to present the activity of doing nothing. Like at their best, they are delivery systems for 4 and 2 silence, like a great silence. And the truth of the matter is we live in this capitalistic age, and a lot of our rituals revolve around like paying money, downloading an app. And this demonstrates our seriousness. And through this demonstration of our seriousness, we can begin our meditation practice, for example. I mean, I remember at the monastery, we used to do a class for free. And I wanted to keep it free. It was like a beginner's thing. And a monk pulled me aside one day and we had a big argument about it. And he made a good point. He told me, look, first of all, you're sitting down with a bunch of people and you're putting time, effort, and energy into them to teach them meditation. So to honor what you're doing, your work, to honor what it is and what it means, and to get that point across to them that what you're saying has value, you should charge money. He said, people won't take what you're teaching or you seriously unless they have to give something up from themselves or of themselves. He said, unless they pay a price. So people don't take anything seriously unless they pay for it. And that was his reasoning for why we should charge for beginning meditation classes. And I never forgot that. And again, just to close out this train of thought, I think there's something similar going on with meditation apps. It is a demonstration of commitment that gets people to sit. And in that sense, it's awesome. Furthermore, I also think that it is helpful because it can be hard to know what you do to do after a long day of working and interacting with the world and having your nervous system pulled in 10,000 different directions. To then sit down on a cushion and to know exactly what to do can be tricky. So a guided meditation can guide you. I mean, it can guide you instantly into a practice state. Whereas if you don't have that, you could spend 5, 10, or 25 minutes, the whole sit, just getting your bearings and remembering how to do it again. The problem, though, is that if you get too used to getting your practice cues from an app or a teacher or a class, you never learn how to do it yourself. And if you never learn how to do it yourself, you're not really meditating. You're not, at least from the Zen point of view. You can't ultimately outsource your practice. You have to learn how to do it yourself. And kind of sort of maybe the truth of the matter is, when you sit down on the cushion, you have to learn how to do it all over again, every single time. Like when I saw my family member laying on the floor with the foam ball under her back and the thing on her eyes, warming her eyes, and the guided meditation coming through, I got this sense that it was another version of materialism in our society, like paying a price, getting a bunch of gear, having an expert speak platitudinous instructions, you following them, and then you kind of getting up afterwards feeling a little bit different, but you're not quite sure why, because you were sort of led through something once again by an expert whom you paid for, because that's just how we do things in our society. We've all sort of conscripted each other into our money-making schemes, including our spiritual teachers. But you can't outsource your practice. Like, even if you sit on a cushion and do it completely wrong, in some sense, I think that may even be better than if you sit on a cushion and you get guided through the practice and told how to do it by a meditation instructor. In some sense, if you sit sincerely and completely on your cushion and just try, my teacher used to say to me over and over, just try. And at some point I realized, oh, trying is doing. There's no doing. Trying 100% is it, right? So I was taught meditation by several Zen Buddhist teachers. Initially, I thought they were showing me how to do something, but in fact, over the years, I've come to realize they were almost doing the opposite. They were showing me how to do nothing, but doing nothing isn't easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. This is why we have religious rituals, to put a frame around this nothingness, to give it some context, to help us get a toehold. But let's not forget the central point of a meditation practice, which is essentially to do nothing, or to do something, to just do one thing and to do it completely. So, in the Zen that I was taught, that's how you do nothing, because you can't really do nothing. You're a human being, you got a mind, you got a body, you're occupying this moment in time, right here, right now. You can't just zone out, blank out, let go, do nothing. Okay, so one of the things I appreciate about Rinzai Zen, the school that I trained in, is it allows a neurotic type A personality like myself to proactively do nothing. Okay, so we're going to do one thing completely, the simplest thing possible. The only thing simpler than shikantaza, which is just sitting. Just sitting. That's what that word means, I believe. It's actually a Soto Zen word, but it's a very helpful phrase. Shikantaza, just sitting. The only thing simpler than just sitting is lying down and zoning out. But the problem is then you fall asleep, right? So you want to do a focused, deliberate activity, but the simplest thing possible. So you sit. You can take your seat. Your spine is a little bit curved. A monk used to tell me, good old Sokai, God rest his soul, would say your spine is a little bit curved. It's a natural curve, like a snake, right? So your knees are touching the floor. Your feet are crossed. Okay? Find a comfortable, upright sitting position. You can sit on the edge of a chair. If you can't sit with your feet crossed, that's fine, but put your feet on the floor. Don't sit with your back against the chair. Sit on the edge of the chair. If you're able to, sit on a floor, under a meditation cushion or a couple of pillows. Raise your butt enough so that your knees touch the ground. Make sure your knees are touching the ground. You want that solid triangle of head, knee, knee. You want it to be solid, right? You're like Mount Fuji. You're settling into yourself. Your body starts to take its a position of integrity. You're settling into yourself, right? So doing nothing is relaxing, like the sumo wrestlers when they're facing each other. They're astonishingly relaxed and like coiled and ready to spring at the same time. There's like relaxation and energy in their posture, if you've ever seen sumo wrestlers. So your spine is straight, but it is not rigid. Okay, there's a curve in it, so pivot your hips, yeah? Pivot your hips a little bit to get that natural curve in your spine. If your spinal cord was a hollow bamboo stick and you could drop a pebble down it and the pebble would not hit the sides, allegedly. Take a deep breath in through your diaphragm, not in your chest. Chest breathing is shallow breathing. It's what you do when you're scared or you're in trouble. So again, you're settling into your body. It's not rest so much as like seriousness. Relaxed but serious. A few deep breaths. In Zazen meditation, we breathe in through the nostrils, out through the nostrils, and into the diaphragm. You can just take your hands and put them on your thighs. Rest your hands on your thighs. You can bring some attention into your shoulders. You've been hunched at your desk typing emails all day, or whatever it is, we do. There's always tension in the trapezoid muscles. You can relax those. Relax them. Breathing deeply in, deeply out. And I find it's good to relax my mask. I'm always wearing a mask that I present to the world. It's called my face. Relax. I can feel tension in my jaw, and behind my ears and in my neck. My body's been working hard. And behind my eyes and in my eyes, my forehead. Relax your face. Your eyes are about 2-3 feet ahead of you on the floor. In Zazen meditation, we hold a soft gaze. You see those pictures of the Buddha, his eyes are slightly lidded. They're not shut, but they're not completely open. They're a soft gaze, which is to say you can use your peripheral vision, activate your peripheral vision. We keep our eyes open, our gaze soft, so that we let the world in. The world is becoming part of our meditation, right? We're not excluding. Allow and include all the noises, the world around you. It's easy to daydream and get lost in your head when you shut your eyes, so we keep them open with a soft gaze. And like I said, you activate your peripheral vision with a soft gaze. So you bring your body into a state of relaxed, firm posture. Poised. You're poised like a mountain. Full of energy, but not moving. Tip of your nose parallel with your abdomen. Now you are just sitting. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. My mentor used to say, give maybe 10% more on your exhale. The exhale happens completely, and then the inhale happens naturally and without effort. Maybe 10% more on your inhale. His message was, breathe naturally but completely, and don't think too much about it. He would tell me that mostly in the real world, when we're in our daily life, we're not doing complete breathing. So maybe complete breathing is a little bit more exhale, a little bit more inhale. But if you get to a situation where you're thinking about it, just relax, do your exhale, do your inhale. Do you see how hard it is to do nothing? We have to do something, but we just reduce options so that we can do that one thing completely. That's why I've been giving you all these instructions on what to do with your body, right? That's all they are, is instructions so that you can come to a point where you're doing one thing completely, so you don't have a bunch of options. Options means your head starts working and you're thinking, and we don't want that. We really don't want thinking. But, of course, now that you're sitting here, if you're doing meditation by yourself, you can have a little clock. I recommend a clock. Take your phone, throw it out the window, get it out of the room. Okay, you don't want that distraction in the room. Don't do meditation timers and stuff. Just get your phone out of the room. Have a nice little clock. Give yourself a time that you're going to sit for. Commit to sitting still during that time and not moving, and then do it. But wait, do what? Just sitting. So, your mind will flare up, like when wind comes and feeds the fire that's burning wood. The flames will flare up. Your mind will flare up when you're sitting. Awesome. That's what the mind does. The pancreas produces insulin, the heart beats and pumps blood, the mind thinks. The mind is not the enemy, we're just giving it something to do when we sit. So, the mind flares up, and you think for a little bit probably, and you're not aware of this thinking. Thinking is happening. Emoting is probably happening. A ton of feeling is happening. In a lot of ways, I find when I sit on the cushion at night, I feel a kind of almost essential oil version of what my mind has been doing all day. I feel a a very condensed and pure version of where my mind has been at all day. And that can be very moving and it can overwhelm me. But sooner or later, I become aware of the fact that I have been thinking. So there's a bright light that goes off. Thinking. I've been thinking. And when I become aware of that thinking, now I have the opportunity to what? To give my attention back to the breath, to just do breathing, turning thinking into breathing. Do that exhale. Taitoku, they call it in Japan, to apprehend or do something with your whole body. I like that phrase, to apprehend with your whole body doing. It's not thinking. It's not thinking about breathing. It's just dissolving the thinking mind into breathing. So all of us have our favorite activities. Shooting a basketball, kissing our spouse, petting our beautiful little cat or dog. When we're doing the things that we love to do the most in this world, we're not thinking, we're doing. That is the spirit or the practice of meditation. But of course, we don't necessarily love to meditate. It's not our favorite thing to do. But if you've ever kissed someone, lost yourself in a kiss, or had a really nice soft drink on a very hot day, you know what it feels like to dissolve into an activity. There's a principle in that dissolving, whether it's licking an ice cream cone, or whacking the ball with your tennis racket, or listening to a beautiful song at a concert, losing yourself in an activity. This is the principle that we're consciously putting into practice on the meditation cushion. We're losing ourselves in the simplest activity possible. Just releasing that exhale completely, and then letting our lungs fill with the inhale, and exhale and inhale, and exhale and inhale. And as we do this activity over the course of our 20, 30, 40-minute sit, we experience the rhythms of meditation, which are, there'll be a blinking out, a dissolution of the self at some point where we've lost the I am, me, I, myself, ego in the exhale. And then an instant later, the I, me, I am, myself, ego is reborn. And when it's reborn, it's fresh and new. Like Christ pushing aside the stone and crawling out of his grave on Easter Sunday. It's reborn. That's the principle there. There's a rebirth. And then the job is you give the new reborn self away to the next breath. This is essentially what Zazen meditation is. So even if you have a meditation app and they're guiding you through something, you can still do this activity. It always sounds good when I say it, then I think about it, and I feel like I got it all worked out in my head, but then every time at night and in the morning when I sit down to do my meditation practice, I bring a new set of problems and a new busy and confused mind to the cushion. So it always requires me to just try again and again and again. Try gently, try intimately. So it's with focus and attention. So meditation is not like in a what do they call that? Mixed martial arts? MMA, mixed martial arts. It's not like a martial arts match. It's not that kind of trying necessarily. It's more like when a mother, you know how it is when you hold an infant newborn for the first time? Do you remember that? I don't know, maybe some of you have held an infant, your own child, for the first time. or if you're holding your grandchild for the first time, or your spouse, your sister's or your brother's child for the first time, like you reach out. You know how that feeling is when it's like, don't drop it, but you feel it, you know? It's not like you're saying it, because if you say it to yourself, you're gonna drop the kid, you know? So it's like you take the kid and you hold it, and you gotta like slide your hand up and hold that like soft head. And you're holding this thing, and it smells so good, and you're holding it. It is with that kind of attention and strength and like sense of responsibility and duty and power that you sit. Like intimate power. Intimacy is strength. Attention is a kind of strength. You know, they say that Rinzai Zen is samurai Zen, but then that's misleading, because you think of it as warrior Zen, but it's not quite warrior Zen. It's more like holding the infant Zen. So you bring in attention and focus and a gentle, fierce completeness to this just sitting. I had something else to say, and I have no idea what it was, so maybe it's best to end this video here. If you'd like to support this channel, you can go to patreon.com/ShozanJackHobner. Thank you so much for your support. I offer these videos for free, but more and more this is how I pay my bills. So I'm deeply, deeply grateful for your support. You can also go to the PayPal link in the video description below. It's also a way to support this channel. Or you can hit the like and hit the subscribe. See you next time.